Time now for Sid Sixero. This is where I get 60 seconds to talk about anything. Start the clock, please. Here's what's on my mind this morning. NHL trade deadline is Monday. Normally, one of the most eagerly anticipated days in the Canadian sports calendar. Which Canadian NHL teams will be buying? Which will be selling? What's the latest rumor? I'm on Twitter. I'm glued on TV. Fantastic theater. This year, it feels different. And like everything else in our lives right now, it's because of all the unknowns. Over 20 players got hit with COVID-19 in Vancouver. Who knows if it'll make its way into other dressing rooms? Fingers crossed it doesn't. Competitively, a ton of unknowns with the Canadian teams. Considering how unpredictable things are, do you push your chips into the middle of the table, make a move, only to see the season canceled? Again, fingers crossed it doesn't happen. And even if teams want to make a move, do they have the salary cap space to do it? Top 4 teams in the North Division, that includes the Maple Leafs, are basically up against the cap. So I guess what I'm saying is no one really knows how the trade deadline is going to play out. Too many unknowns. I guess we'll know more come Monday. Chris Johnston, NHL insider on Sportsnet. Better late than never, joining us. CJ, this is your most busy time of year. We appreciate you jumping on. Will there be a lot of hurry up and wait on Monday for the trade deadline? I'll be watching Sportsnet starting at noon Eastern like a lot of people. What's your feel right now? How busy is this going to be?
Well, there's definitely going to be trades. You know, I've gotten the sense, Sid, in the last day or two here that the conversations around the league with general managers have picked up. You know, my fear, and this is an annual, this part is normal, is that a lot of stuff is going to happen either today or Saturday or Sunday and not leave much of a main course for us on Monday when we have our trade deadline show. But, you know, there's definitely going to be player movement this weekend. I think you're bang on in your 60 seconds there, and that it's not going to be to the same degree as in the past. But, you know, for anyone watching this in Toronto, I do think the Leafs certainly are going to be one of the teams that are out there getting aggressive.
It's so strange. I mean, when you look at the Vancouver Canucks even, CJ, and Jim Benning, the GM in Vancouver, he's always worth some entertainment, whether it's selling or occasionally buying. Like, I don't even know what they can do. From a Canadian standpoint, CJ, who do you think will be the most active team?
I'd say Toronto will be the most active, and then the wild card for me is Winnipeg. You know, I think the Jets are a team that looks at this North Division, and they're not getting as much love as the Leafs have been on a national level, but they feel that they have a chance to come out of it, and they're really in the market for a defenseman. You know, I think that the question for Winnipeg, and it's back to your point, how much do we spend here? If the price
I think we've lost Chris Johnston momentarily. CJ, forgive me. We just lost your audio for a second. We'll try and get those gremlins out of the system. You do look fantastic, by the way. Chris Johnston of Sportsnet. Again, the trade deadline coverage for Sportsnet, brought to you by PC Financial, will be Monday on Sportsnet, noon Eastern. What will the Toronto Maple Leafs do? They got a goalie who's 10-0. They're winning a ton of games. But Kyle Dubas, as we know, is the type of general manager who is not going to sit on his hands if he can help it. This is a huge, huge trade deadline for that young GM. There's a lot of pressure. This team seems experienced. They seem focused. Their blue line is better. They got a goalie. Could they use some depth? Absolutely. But it's definitely something to watch heading into Monday. And like CJ said, and apologies to Chris Johnston, who's one of the best in the business, and we'll talk to him again next week. It's going to be really interesting how this plays out. The weekend, as he said, there's usually more moves on the weekend than on Monday. So keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on your social media feeds. Excuse me. Getting all choked up about all the trades that are going to happen. All right, we're going to take a break. You sound off coming up. Look, it's been a heavy news week here in Toronto and Ontario. I get that. It's a stay-at-home order. It's the second one since the pandemic. So the question simply is, how are you making the most of the stay-at-home order this weekend? What are you going to do? You going to the backyard, catching up on movies, watching WrestleMania, watching Masters final round? What's the deal? 1-866-267-3797. Feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca and Twitter at Breakfast TV. Good morning, Toronto. You're watching Breakfast Television.